So we see here that Saul is jealous, violent, afraid, and cunning. He says one thing and thinks another. Hey, I'm going to give you my daughter, just be brave and fight for God's people. And the Philistines will kill you. We have this image of Saul lurking inside his palace, in the darkness, sending out messengers to David, sending out his plan, being cunning and crafty. Why is it darkness? Now, Saul probably didn't literally have a hood up, shielding his eyes. But why is it darkness that is the image of craftiness and cunning? Because your thoughts are kept hidden inside you. Oh, this is what I'm thinking. These are my plans. I'm going to work this out. I'll make this happen. Let's look at Saul's craftiness. Verse 17, of course, was when he has this plan to let the Philistines kill David, giving him his daughter in marriage. So he sends him out to fight, hoping that will take care of it. Verse 18, but David said to Saul, who am I, and what is my family or my father's clan in Israel that I should become the king's son-in-law? Remind you of anyone? This humility, this was almost exactly what Saul said when he was presented to the king. He said, oh, who am I to become that? What is Saul like now? Not like that anymore. And David is now the one who's humble. He says, oh, who am I to become the king's son-in-law? Verse 20. Now, Saul's daughter Michal was in love with David. And when they told Saul about it, he was pleased. So, David again and the royal family. He has the hearts of the people and of Saul's own children. His friendship, his love of Jonathan, and now this love for Michal, Saul's daughter. Verse 21. Saul says, I will give him to her, he thought, so that she may be a snare to him, and so that the hand of the Philistines will be against him. So Saul said to David, now you have a second opportunity to become my son-in-law. Thinking one thing, saying another. He has this plot, this plan to get him. He says, the only bride price I ask is 100 Philistine foreskins. Is this plan so that the Philistines will kill him. Again, these hidden thoughts, this cunning craftiness. Let's look at 22 through 25. Saul ordered his attendants, speak to David privately, saying, look, the king is pleased with you, and his attendants all like you. Now become his son-in-law. They repeated these words to David, but David said, do you think it is a small matter to become the king's son-in-law? I am only a poor man and little known. When Saul's servants told him what David said, Saul replied, say to David, the king wants no other price for the bride than 100 Philistine foreskins to take revenge on his enemies. Saul's plan was to have David fall by the hand of the Philistines. So, sending, notice the word sending. It's a key word in this book because it's the king back in the shadows, sending out his minions. Like a stealthy spider in the wolf's web is connected to everything. And he always hides his thoughts with his words. He says, say this, oh, everybody likes you. He's coaching them on exactly how to get David to do this. Because he has this plot. This plot is David would probably die killing 100 Philistines. The reason for the foreskins was that's something that someone doesn't give up unless you kill them. So it's a way to prove that you killed this person, and it's also a way to prove that it was not a Jew that you killed, it was a Philistine. Also, it was symbolic of their paganness. Philistine pagans, they didn't have a covenant with God, or circumcision. So, Saul has this plot. He said David will probably die trying to kill 100 Philistines. he doesn't, well, he has Michal, my younger daughter, and she'll be a snare to him. 27 to 29. David and his men went out and killed 200 Philistines. He brought back their foreskins and presented the full number to the king so that he might become the king's son-in-law. The king gave him his daughter Michal in marriage. When Saul realized that the Lord was with David and that his daughter Michal loved David, Saul became still more afraid of him and remained his enemy the rest of his days. His plot backfires. David kills twice as many as the prior number, and probably, gets the honor and recognition and loyalty of the troops that he goes with, and his daughter is loving. One can assume that she is not such a loving person. That does come into play later in their marriage. But Saul thought, oh, she'll be such a snare to him. But she's not, at least not at this point. She's a loving wife and an asset to David. We would see in the next chapter that another one of Saul's plots to kill David is foiled because of her. He says, bring me him in his bed while he's asleep and I'll kill him in his bed. But Michal had put a statue in the bed with some fur at the top and pulled the blankets up over it. So they thought it was David. His own children are foiling his plot. So this plot backfires and it ends up making David more successful than ever. Let's compare David and Saul here. David is humble. Saul is self-absorbed. And we saw in the previous chapter, the previous few chapters, Saul becoming self-focused, now self-absorbed, maybe later in this book something like self-obsessed. David is active. He does things. Saul is inactive. He thinks things. He plots. He's crafty. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we need to not think and not be wise and just go out and do. There's a place for wisdom and for prudence, but there is also a danger of becoming inactive and becoming brooding and not doing anything about it. David is active in serving God and serving Saul himself. Saul is inactive in being served with his plots and sending out his messengers to do his bidding. David, whatever he does mightily. Ecclesiastes says, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might. Don't do things half-heartedly. Saul, what he does cunningly. And whatever David does is a success, and he succeeds more and more and more, and whatever Saul does is a failure. And he sinks deeper and deeper into failure and peril and ruin. What does David have on his side? He has the people on his side, he has the officers, he has Saul's own children, Jonathan and Michal, he has Samuel, the prophet, and most importantly, he has the Lord on his side. What does Saul have on his side? He has himself. Now, in being king, he has power over those other people, the officers and the people, but he doesn't have their hearts. He doesn't have their loyalty. And his power, of course, is nothing